Hi everyone, welcome to the very first episode of 1107 in Dark. This is a new series Catelyn and I are going to be doing on our podcast where we take a playlist that we create, listen to some of our favorite songs, and do a deep dive into the music. The very first playlist that we're going to be doing tonight is based on the genre Neo Soul. This is a genre that Catelyn and I used to listen to a lot as children, and we love listening to now even as adults. So we want to take you into some of our favorite songs from that genre, get into the music, get into the artist, get into the lyrics. If you're ready, pop in your headphones, listen to the playlist that's down in our description below, where we've linked all the songs that we're going to be listening to tonight and discussing. And let's get into it.
So the playlist that you guys are going to see is like the extended playlist. We've made a shortened version so that we could hit on, let's like some of our top songs. So I picked 5, Courtney picked 5 songs so that we could talk about in today's podcast. However, you'll see the long extended list of all the Neo Soul songs that we really enjoyed throughout our lives and now currently. Take a listen to those. The link is in the description box below. But we're going to go ahead and jump on into One More Again.
Yes, and just so you guys know how this will work is we're going to play the song separately because we can't get copyrighted. So we're going to play the song separately. We hope you're going to be playing along with us, and we're going to be discussing the song as we play it. So it's kind of like a little jam sesh, even though we can't play the music out loud, but we're going to all have our own little private party and then discuss as we listen to the songs. So that'll be the format of this show as well as future 1107 and Dark episodes. So we're excited about that format. We're excited about getting to talk music with people because, it's something we enjoy personally, but something that we're excited to share with other people. And to maybe, even explain or share some music that people may have never heard of or, alternative genres or things like that people might take some interest in. So yeah, but the very first one we're doing tonight is Neo Soul. And just a little bit of background on Neo Soul. Neo Soul is a contemporary R&B soul sound, taking that soul sound from the 70s but mixed with elements of hip hop. So it's very expressive. So it's very expressive as far as lyrics are concerned. So it's not as mainstream as like your standard R&B. All right.
And then I also have some differences between your typical soul music versus your neo soul. So neo soul is distinguished by a less conventional sound than its contemporary R&B counterpart. So typically your neo soul is going to include elements of either funk, jazz, hip hop, African music, pop, rock, and electric music. So that is what distinguishes your soul music and your R&B from neo soul.
Exactly. Yeah. Neo soul is it's kind of like what it sounds, although I guess it's sort of a misnomer. It's really a fusion genre. It's not so much like new soul. Although that's kind of how it was labeled to be sold to audiences, but it really is about fusing different types of sounds.
Exactly.
And just
genres.
In genres, yes. So it originated with Motown Records back in the mid 90s. That's when it really kind of came on the scene. And artists like Erykah Badu, D'Angelo, Raphael Sadiq, and people even say Alicia Keys. I'm a little I don't know how I feel about that, but people say Alicia Keys and John Legend, and I'm they're more pop oriented to me, but I could see how you could see I could see how you can make the argument that their musical style does lend itself towards something like neo soul.
I think they're more R&B, but that's me.
Yeah, I would consider them more hardcore R&B, less neo soul, but
for sure.
But yeah.
But neo soul is like a subcategory of R&B, so
exactly, yeah. It's more neo soul is like the alternative cousin to R&B,
Exactly.
If you had to really put it in context. But to me, some of the strongest R&B comes from neo soul because the lyrical content in neo soul is so rich. But yeah, speaking of, okay, we should get into the songs because that's what we came here for a jam sesh. So The very first song we're gonna be listening to is "One More Again," like I was saying earlier, by D'Angelo, who is really credited with really bringing neo soul to the more mainstream audiences. Um, Back in like the late '90s, mid to late '90s, like '96. This is "One More Again" is a deep cut on this album, but it's certainly not to be missed. It's one of my favorites from his Voodoo album, which is his second album, and it's just pure neo soul. So you ready to get into it? You ready to hit play?
Let's do it.
All right, and play it.
So I'm going to go ahead and say this, but I'm a little biased to D'Angelo. I love D'Angelo. He is
Yeah.
such a vibe. So I've actually never heard this song before, believe it or not. But like it gave me nothing less than D'Angelo. I was once again impressed, to say the least.
Yeah, it never disappoints.
Seriously.
And I hope all the people who are like listening with us, like it just those very first like chords, it's just like it gets you. It's so smooth. It
Yeah.
kind of like brings you into the verse, which is coming next. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
what
his
I
musicians
appreciate,
are great.
yeah, what I appreciate about about the albums is like they were really concentrated on making it almost like narrative, like it flows. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like the music itself is its own art, and then like the artist singing or rapping or whatever the case may be, that was its own art in itself. Like they could be individual and be great.
Exactly.
It's definitely like a really like groovy melody.
Yeah.
With some really like fun, funky jazz vibes, which hints the neo soul.
Exactly.
I feel like D'Angelo is
Yeah.
just so underrated.
Agreed. Something I was thinking about like with this song, like just listening to it, is it's so smooth, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that adds to like what the lyric, or it helps to kind of show the lyrical content, because the song is about, somebody trying to reunite with an ex-lover. Like somebody's like, I I want to see you again, one more again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like it has this like smooth quality to it, which is like it kind of shows like a smooth talker. That's kind of I was thinking, like somebody really
Oh
trying to like
yeah.
get your ear, trying to like talk to you. Like I shouldn't do this, but maybe I should because it feels good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that old thing back. But this is like it kind of personifies that for me.
For sure. I would agree with that. I didn't perceive it as like smooth talking, but that's like a great analogy. It's just real smooth and like sultry and like flowy, like, you know,
Yeah,
this is
it's
a
like I
time of
shouldn't, but I want to.
but
You know,
exactly, yeah, that's what I feel
yeah.
when I'm listening to this.
It's like if somebody was singing this song to me and I was like the person they were addressing, in the lyrics,
Yeah, I'll probably go back.
I would think about it again because I'd be like, I don't,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I would go back because it feels good,
Yeah, for sure. It is. It
Yeah.
definitely is like a feel good song. Makes you feel warm inside and warm and cozy.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's like neo soul as the genre, the genre as a whole, let alone D'Angelo because he's a freak amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He always makes you feel like warm and cozy.
Exactly. And these songs have that heavy bass
Oh, I love the
with a
bass.
slow rhythm, kind of
Mm-hmm.
honestly not even a complex like music. Like the music's not complex to me.
At
You know,
all.
it's like a slow, steady rhythm. They find a good beat. They find a good um, rhythm or a
Mm-hmm.
melody. Um, and then they add that little hip hop sound over it, and that's it.
Yeah.
And let the vocals work.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's like the key with neo soul for me is like they usually have a really good bass line that's carrying the beat. So like there's a
Mhm.
difference between you having your drum that's carrying your beat or you have your bass that's carrying the beat, your bass line. So if you don't know, fun fact, I have a bass and I've been learning to play the bass. And so your bass line is usually consistent throughout the entire song. But if you have that
Mhm.
consistency, like Courtney said, it just kind of makes it a smoother melody, it's more groovy because your bass line actually stays the same throughout the entire song. Unless there's
Exactly.
just like something that changes in that one little part, or you have like a special section in the
Exactly.
song, right? But it
Yeah.
definitely like adds
It keeps
that
the
smoothness, and
consistency. It
yeah, it
hooks
adds
you
that
into,
smoothness.
and that's what One More Again does. It hooks you in with that like strong bass first, that
Mm-hmm.
consistency. And then when
Mm-hmm.
D'Angelo starts singing, they add the like more hip hop type sound, or they add different drums, and
Exactly.
they add the like flavor to it when he's
Mm-hmm.
singing the verses, and so it's kind of like a little razzle dazzle, you know.
Exactly. And then you have the ending, then it's like complete left field.
Hmm.
It's more like fun. That's really like fun. Um, or let's be honest, the whole song is fun, but the beginning part and or the for majority of the song, it's more of like a smooth, fun, jazzy vibe. The end is like they're just going real ham on all the musical
Yeah,
instruments that they included in the song.
exactly. And his vocals are so rich, and he can go
Mm-hmm.
into falsetto and all of that. It really just it brings you in, you know.
For sure. For sure. Definitely a bop. Top
Yeah,
artist, let alone song.
exactly. I'm great song. Glad we finished up that song. You got the song. You listened to that one.
Yep.
Yeah, that was honestly that's like one of my favorite songs, probably like just of the '90s R&B
Mm-hmm.
era. Yeah,
Okay.
and then I like, of course, it's D'Angelo, and like his honestly the whole Voodoo album, like, ooh, I love the whole Voodoo album. It's one of those you
Yeah.
can definitely just put on repeat if you're
Oh,
looking
for
for
sure.
good neo soul Voodoo. That's
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was actually
Absolutely.
critically acclaimed at the time as well for being just like really well produced, consistent, um, like kind of almost like a staple of neo soul at the time. I
Oh,
really
really?
think that's
Hmm. Yeah, I can see that though.
yeah,
I can see
for
that.
sure. But yeah, okay, so you want to move on to the next song, Nothing Even Matters? This is a classic too.
Yeah.
Speaking of, and
Yes,
it
for
has
sure.
D'Angelo in it, um,
Duh.
who we love, as well as Lauryn Hill, who a lot of people consider to be a part of the neo soul movement as well. And I thought a
Really?
little, yeah, I didn't
Hmm.
totally consider her that, but you know,
Yeah. But I can see that because it has more of like her music has more of like an African and or like reggae type of style, which neo soul is basically a combination of two different genres and or styles of music. So I
exactly.
guess um,
Yeah,
neo soul is while it's like a small subset, it's actually so broad, so it
yeah,
can be
because
confusing.
it's fusion. It's all about a
Mm-hmm.
fusion of sounds. It's not,
Exactly.
it's not one or the other. It's about blending and mixing
Mm-hmm.
different like types of music together, really, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right, you
So
ready to get
then,
into this one?
yes, I love the song so much.
Me too. Love
All
this
right.
song.
You want to press play?
Yep.
All right, let's go.
Oh, the intro of this. I love it.
Yes,
Once again, another smooth melody by D'Angelo. You
exactly.
also have the strong bass line coming in from the top, along with a little snap, but you get a lot of that in more of like a poetry, spoken word
Yeah.
uh,
That's what
arena
I really
for
wanted
me.
to talk about was the snaps.
Hmm. Yeah.
And what I realized, this is the first time I thought about it this way, the snaps are really in place of the drums. Like
Hmm.
where a drum percussion would be to hold that steady beat, the snaps
Hmm.
take that place. And I was like, that's such an intentional artistic move because it
Oh, yeah.
makes the listener feel like we're a part of the music making,
Hmm.
you know?
I used to remember, like, as a kid, like, we used to, like, try to keep up with the snap. You know what I mean? Like, that was, like, our
Exactly.
input to the song.
Exactly. And the thing is, the snap is so consistent and so regular, it becomes the beat.
Hmm.
It
Oh,
becomes
yeah.
what the drum would be, you
Exactly.
know?
Yeah, obviously you have your bass line carrying the song, but that snap really makes a difference. I feel like you can't not have the snap in this. Obviously, we
Exactly.
only know it with the snap, but that literally made the difference in this song.
Exactly. And it's like it uses the listener who, like, it kind of implies that you're a part of it, because it's like I'm sitting in this club listening to them too. I'm helping them keep the beat. I'm helping them make this song. Same way that, like, neo soul, like, uses live instruments as well as, produce beats, right? So it kind of
Exactly.
helps that fusion of, like, live performance mixed with a already produced musical sound. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? So I
I
think
agree with
that's
that.
why it was brilliant that they use these snaps, because it shows so many. It's such an artistic symbol, I guess.
Absolutely. As well as like the simplicity of it. Like I love that typically it's a super simple, or for this song specifically, it's such a simple beat. It's just a basic bass line, which, like I said in the last song, that usually is pretty consistent throughout the entire song. And then you have like the snap that's just adding that extra. That's pretty much, and some other instruments in the background. But that's pretty much it. There's nothing super intricate about it. They took like some common things that you would find in pretty much any music, and really made something simple but so different and unique out of it.
Exactly. And another thing is, like, this song really is a ballad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's like a dramatic ballad, because it tells a narrative, and it's
Yeah.
about these two voices coming together to express their love for each other. Like, nothing even matters. Nothing matters. Like, nothing's
Mm-hmm.
gonna stop me. You know what I mean? From, like, loving you. She's like, even if my boss calls. You
Yeah.
know, even if, like, the sky falls. Like, you know what I mean? So it really is this, like, kind of deeply romantic ballad, but put
Mm-hmm.
in a very, like, jazzy, groovy, intimate setting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then it's perfect to have Lauryn Hill and then D'Angelo have such, like, smooth and, like, you know, warm voices, male and female, together
Exactly.
expressing that, you know?
For sure. I definitely remember like growing up listening to this song, and this was my favorite song off of the album. Absolutely loved the song. Probably overdid the song, honestly.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's not as known as
and
it
it
should
was
be.
just, oh, it's definitely not. But I definitely like remember like thinking like, oh my gosh, this is just such a vibe. Like Courtney said, is while it's a ballad, um, and it is saying such a powerful thing, right? It's also such a great musical creation with beyond
Mhm.
just what they're saying.
Exactly.
My favorite part is literally the ad libs at the end when they're just like kind of going
Yeah,
back and forth. Like, love it, love it, love it.
exactly. Yeah, it really makes you feel like they kinda transport you to that, like, romantic, if I were
Mm-hmm.
in a relationship with someone
Yeah,
and nothing even like, you get to a point in your love and your affection where it's like nothing even matters,
exactly.
and this is, like, what would come out of that, you know?
Yeah. And also too, with it being like a male and a female singing the song,
Mhm.
it's kind of like they are in their own relationship, and you like feel what they're going through. You're like
Exactly.
visually seeing what they're going through as they're singing the song, and them being a dynamic in a sense, right? Even though they're not a couple, you're still able to feel that through what you're hearing them say, and just how they like mesh so well together.
Exactly. And it's also, like, they're, I read somewhere that Lauryn Hill was thinking about, like, romantic ballads like Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway, who are from, like, the '70s, right? So, like, Closer I Get to
Mm-hmm.
You, those type songs, and she
Got
was,
it.
like, trying to, like, make something that would sort of mimic that,
Mm-hmm.
but make it more contemporary for the time, and I
Yeah.
think nothing even matters. It's just it perfectly does that for that era,
Oh, for
for
sure.
the neo soul sound, and then for
Mm-hmm.
their voices, and, like, I just think it's a song that should get played a lot more, especially as a love ballad, you know what I mean?
Agreed. No, I absolutely agree with that. I definitely think that like that's the perfect she definitely hit the nail on the head with that song, with the inspiration that she had, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Literally love that song. One of my favorites.
Yeah, it's great. You don't even have to be like in love with somebody to like appreciate it. It's just a great song.
Yeah. Yeah, as a kid, I had no idea, and I was like, "This is it, and this is the one." So,
Exactly,
but I think also too, like, a good song when it's a good song. So,
absolutely, it just jumps out. It gets it.
For sure.
It pulls you in. Really, is what neo soul does. It pulls you in, and you're there snapping and clapping, and you're like joining in.
Exactly.
All right, that was a good one. You want to move on to On and On? Erykah Badu.
Let's do it. Oh, love Erykah. Love Erykah. I know I'm going to keep saying that. I love all of these artists. They're amazing.
Exactly. You know what? Something I didn't realize is that a lot of people actually don't know neo soul like that. I thought it was really common because it was so common for us.
It hurts my heart.
Yeah, because I'm like, this is like this. We grew up on this. It's like bread and butter,
For sure. 100%. And I think, like, especially in the African American culture, right? So you usually have like the stereotypical like rap, R&B, hip hop, but this genre right here is just so soothing to the soul. Hence, why it's probably called neo soul. But it's just like, you got to listen to this. This is where it's at. I promise you. You. I would not lead you astray.
Yes, neo soul. I think the reason why it doesn't get played is because it's considered like more alternative. But the thing is, so many great ballads come out of this. Like we just saw, Nothing Even Matter. That's a really great ballad. And then One More Again, same thing. That's the lyrical content is almost like a ballad too. Like it really is. The stuff that they're making is like solid material. Like they're writing good 100%. Songs. It's not just kind of like pop sort of flippant, like, cliche type things. They're really putting effort into these lyrics, It's almost like their personal journals. Like, it has that intimate feel to it that I think pop does not have and like other genres don't necessarily have. It feels like they take their inner thoughts or journals, poems, literally, and just set them to music,
Exactly, yeah.
All right, want to get on to On and On?
Oh, yes, let's do it. Right, this one's a banger.
All righty. This one has a heavier bass line going into it.
For sure. This one has more, like, definitely more of like a funk. Funk fusion for sure. But this one, I think the bass line is heavier because it's not a bass guitar. This is like an actual bass, like the big bass. That's a couple feet, like about 5 feet tall, I guess. Which that bass has a lot like lower, deeper range. So I feel like that's why this one has that heavier bass line.
And it goes back to that live instrumentation. You can tell that they really had somebody in there like playing this,
doing that. Oh, for sure.
In a studio session. Which, believe it or not, people think that everybody's like playing instruments all the time, and actually a lot of times they're not. They're just like synthetically making these beats, especially like in the 90s they would have been making synthetic beats, right? But
oh, for sure,
going back to like kind of that old school like 60s 70s style where you had to like sitting there, somebody was playing the guitar, somebody was playing the chords on the piano, somebody was singing, somebody was like live jam sessions for real.
And I think that's what they like brought back with neo soul, is that they had that like authentic, you can tell between what's synthesized and what's real. So like this one right here and On, you can definitely hear that's a real bass that's being played.
Exactly. Absolutely.
I feel like no one could be in a bad mood listening to this song. Like, it's just such a fun, funky, vibey song. Plus, Erykah's more like eccentric. So like what she's saying in the song is a little more atypical. So with how it relates to different things, but it's just such a fun song.
Exactly. My favorite line is, "I was born underwater with $3.06." I love that because it's like you really have to like sit there and like kind of think about her lyrics.
Yeah,
because they make sense when you really get into them. But she says, because people sing so quickly, you're like, what did she say? and I get into it and I'm like, nah, she was on something.
For sure. My favorite part is when she says, "You rush into destruction because you don't have nothing left. The mothership can't save you, so your A is going to get left. If
Mm-hmm.
I were made in his image, then call us by our names. Most intellects do not play in God, but they fear us just the same." That's literally like a play on the Bible and some of
Yeah,
basically a quote from the Bible. But it's interesting how she like turned that into like a question, like of whether or not do you believe or not, in my personal opinion. And if you
exactly.
do, then is that rooted in fear or is it not? So
Exactly.
she's freaking a genius when it comes um to lyrics, first of all, and just like how she creates her music.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm hearing the lyrics right now, that song.
But the fear is just
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's a good. I love that. Like, she kind of brings, it's like the mothership, so it's like aliens implied.
mm-hmm.
Then also like religion and like intellectualism versus, religion
Mm-hmm.
and like
It's just
kind of
like,
her spirituality. Like, she's like very in touch with like nature herself, earth, all of
yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's interesting. Like she brings all of her like eclecticness into the music, and she like
For
imprints it there
sure.
and like doesn't explain it. I love that. That's
At
what you
all.
do as an
And
artist.
exactly. And like, you can tell that's her platform to do it. But also too, like just the mystique behind the song. I love me some good music that makes you think, and it's just like food for thought. This song right here will have you thinking for days if you look into her lyrics. Like I'm telling you, it's just like, what? Huh? What?
Exactly. Yeah.
Throughout the entire song. Just like that one thing that I said was my favorite quote. Like so many other people could look at that completely different. But that is why I call her a freaking lyrical genius.
Yeah. I wonder if she wrote all of her songs for Baduzium, because that was her first album, I
Ooh.
think. Baduzium or either her second one. Um,
Um,
I don't know.
is it? I don't know.
I don't know if she wrote all of them, but I do know she was signed with Motown, and a lot of the people who neo soul is really associated with Motown, like Erica Badu,
Yeah.
India.Arie. I'm not sure if D'Angelo was, but I think he was signed with Motown.
So it
And I
does say
think
she
Jill
is one
Scott
of the
was as well.
composers for this song.
She was? Okay, yeah.
She was composer. There's somebody else on here too. So I don't know like how much they inputted, but she's noted as one of the composers and the one of the lyricists, her and the gentleman. So just
Gotcha.
them two.
Okay.
Which I can see, like,
Yeah. I feel like she's definitely trying to bring up some like deep, interesting themes in her music.
mm-hmm,
And she does it by wordplay, which is great because
mm-hmm.
you kind of catch people off guard, and they're jamming to the song and they're like, I don't really know what you said, but like they're repeating it. And so like it's kind of like it sort of seeps in like a really like kind of subtle way,
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Yeah.
100%. She definitely will
Yeah.
have your brain going when you really listen.
Yeah, for sure. And this is like that's just like the beginning. Like so many of her other songs are also just as probing. Like
Yep.
another one I like by her is called Apple Tree. And that one's really like it's kind of sarcastic, but it's that same sort of probing lyrics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, all right. You wanna move on to D'Angelo Lady. This is another
Mm.
D'Angelo song we chose for the playlist.
Okie dokie. As you can see, D'Angelo is very popular on our Neo Soul uh, playlist. We have chosen him 3 times for the segment, so he's he's one of the tops for sure.
Absolutely. It's because his music really sort of defined
Neo
or
Soul.
helped define that genre. Yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
this song we're listening to is Lady, and this is from his first album. So you can kind of compare this to um
To Voodoo.
to Voodoo, which is his second album. All right, ready to listen?
Let's go.
Let's go.
This is like another one of his songs. You can kind of tell he has that like build up when you first enter the song, like kind of
Mhm.
setting the scene for like what's to come. I feel
Yeah.
like he's like notorious for that. Like most of his songs, they have that like little build up in the beginning, like introduction.
Yeah.
That's like, all right, here's what you're gonna get. Kind
I
of
think it's
throw
called
you
The
into the
Hook.
beat.
It's
Yeah,
called The
the
Hook,
hook.
right?
I
But
think
it's
so. I
not.
don't know.
But I always thought A Hook had lyrics.
I thought so too, but I don't know. I
Hmm.
mean, I
Obviously,
don't know
we're not
because it's like
musicians.
really technically just a beat.
Yeah, but that's what I think is interesting about it. Is like he hooks you in with the music, not just the
Mm-hmm.
lyrics. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, and today, like a lot of artists cannot do that. So, because most of the
Yeah.
beats
Well,
are
it's because
like
they're
the
not
same.
really making good music. They're making it's like strictly lyrics, and then the lyrics are cliche. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of them, you know.
For sure.
But he hooks you in strictly off of a beat. I mean, think about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's purely musicianship.
For
And
sure.
then he goes into like not even a full verse. He goes into the chorus,
Mm-hmm.
and then that hooks you further. Then you get into the verse, and they don't really have a lot of verses. That's the thing. It'll be like maybe
Mm-mm.
two or three.
Yeah,
Um,
not many.
and then it's the chorus and all of that, you know?
This is definitely one of my songs. That's one of the songs that are on the list of songs I need to learn how to play on the bass. Even though I'm not that great at it, this is on the list.
Yes. I also like that they layered his vocals so much because, like we were saying,
Mm-hmm.
he has a range. Like he really can do falsetto and then go
Oh,
back
for
down
sure.
into like deeper tones. So
Yeah.
they have him backing himself.
Mm-hmm. I will
Um,
say that's one thing I like about like this generation of music. Like they did their own ad libs, they did their own like backgrounds. Like
mhm.
you got to see their range, you got to see what they were working with, their full resume right there, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, you don't know who's doing it.
Well, the thing is, back in the day, like the '60s, they used to have like backup singers.
Yeah,
Like a
but it
lot
was
of
like a real
Aretha Franklin
voice.
tracks would have backup singers. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But by the '90s, artists were doing their own backing tracks and like layering their own voices.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
know,
think it allows you to see like their range though, and like what they're fully
that's true.
capable
Yeah.
of. So I really enjoyed that. Don't be wrong, like those background singers were just as talented as well, but you were only able to see them in that capacity. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
their voice were meshed in with everybody else's. Versus this, you fully see that he can. He has a falsetto. You see that he can have a lower range. You can see that he just like his little tricks and stuff that he could do with his voice.
Exactly. Yeah.
I also really enjoyed the middle part of this song, where he just kind of like breaks down like all the instruments that he's using. He has his bass line playing, then he's like building on to, um, I guess you could say like the beat, where he's just like adding in like the piano or whatever other instruments he's using throughout the song.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of his style, though, is like hook people
Mm-hmm.
in with that strong bass line, with that strong
For
backing
sure,
beat,
for
that
sure.
sort of smooth, strong backing beat, and then periodically add the like flavor in, pull it back,
Mm-hmm.
add the flavor, pull it back, add the flavor, pull it back, add the flavor, and like kind of
Mm,
create that rhythm. So
absolutely.
it's like a layered fusion. You know, it's like a cake almost.
It's like he just like teases you just enough to be like, oh, I want some more. I want some more. And
Exactly.
then
Yeah.
he gives you just a little bit and then he like takes it back out and then he like add a little bit more and he takes it back out.
Exactly.
This is like one of the songs that I definitely like blast in my car. Like if you see me down the highway I have speakers in my car, so um if my windows are like shaking drastically, this is probably one of the songs I'm listening to.
Yes. And honestly, I don't have a problem with that. We love
I
D'Angelo. Like
don't. This is such a groove.
it's such a groove. Yes, it's so groovy.
I
Like
definitely see why people like cope to like music. Like we talked about this in the previous episode in one of our traumas in our mental health series. We were talking about how people use music as a coping mechanism, and that was something that I had learned in our research. And now that I'm listening to this playlist, like, yep, that's definitely me. Probably coping listening to this playlist because this music is just so darn freaking good.
Yes. It'll get you right every time, I think. It never
Seriously.
misses
Yeah.
for me.
For sure.
All right, you want to move on to Brown Skin? That's the next one on our...
Let's go for it.
This is by
This is
India
another one of
Arie.
my favorite.
Yes, another super noted neo-soul artist. She kind of came out the gate real, just with like a really strong first album. Like her first album, Acoustic Soul, is another one that I will listen to top to bottom.
For
That
sure.
and like Voodoo. Yes, top to bottom. And we couldn't put all the India Arie songs on here, but like if I could have, we would have, because every single one of them just amazing, especially from Acoustic Soul.
Yeah, I literally just listened to this album like 2 days ago, so I always listen to this song. This album, yet this song. I love this song.
Exactly. And her lyrical content is so strong too, and so like empowering. And
for sure.
Which is, it's so interesting that they consider this music alternative, because all they're saying is like, love yourself. Like, you know what I mean? They're actually just putting truth. They're just stating the true experiences, and that's
exactly.
like somehow alternative. But yeah, all right. This is Brown Skin by India Arie. Let's go.
I just love how this song
starts,
like promotes like celebrating your black and or brown skin, right? And I'm talking like even back in the day, because this album was released in 2001, when this wasn't such a popular thing to talk about, you know, your brown skin and appreciating your skin and your skin color and being black and stuff like that. This song did that back in the day. This was your promote your self-love as a black woman and your black man type of song.
And black love, like two black people like enmeshed in a relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anything black, she was promoting it, which she still does to this day. So kudos to India. But this right here was like, now looking back, was like
sort of
eye-opening. Because like, yeah, because I mean, think about it, nobody was doing that in 2001 at all. No one.
It was
so like kudos to her.
Right. Like it was coming off that era.
Exactly. And for India not to be a light-skinned woman doing that is even more telling. Like, she has experienced that as a brown-skinned individual, I'm sure, especially in the industry that she's in. So for her to say that, being that colorism back then was pretty prominent. And she was willing to be like, you know what, this is what I got to say.
And there's something really sensual about this as well. Because it's like, the whole song is about skin to skin, right? So like, we can only imagine what they're actually doing, you know?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, or what they're not doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I said, I think this is like sensual. It's about touch. It's about kind of physical connection, not necessarily sexual, but a physical connection. And appreciating somebody's like skin for how they are naturally, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, for sure. Such a great song. And the album in itself is beautiful. If you have not listened to India Arie before, take a listen to her album, Acoustic Soul. It was released in 2001. But this is, for me, top neo soul album ever. And I love D'Angelo, don't get me wrong. But this album right here is it. It is it.
Yeah, I agree. I really agree with that. I really wouldn't even put them in categories as like one or two. They're like the same to me.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. I will say India does have a little more of she gets closer to pop sounding than musically than D'Angelo does. And that's because I think she uses stronger beats, whereas D'Angelo doesn't use so many strong backing beats.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He's more simpler when it comes to the beat.
Yeah, and it's like more of a mellow groove. He like relies on kind of groovy type
Mm-hmm.
things, you know,
Yeah, I can see
that
that.
bass line. And that's kind of it. Like a stripped down bass line is really what he relies on.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, and I think India incorporates more of a synthetic sound.
Mm.
So, but yeah, no, still great albums though. I would agree with Courtney in saying that they're side by side on the category. So
Exactly,
yeah,
yeah.
take a listen to Acoustic Soul if you have never listened to it before. Really great album.
And I love that it's like a Black woman's diary.
Yeah,
Like
it
a
is.
Black woman's musical diary. A
That is
Black
so
young
true.
woman's
Yeah.
musical diary. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
that's for some people, I mean, not for us, but for some people, that's like a radical idea. Like a Black
Mm-hmm.
woman, you know, feeling and existing in the world.
For sure.
So to hear it put to music in such a beautiful, like enticing way, enchanting way is just top tier, you know?
For sure. For sure. All right, so we're gonna jump on over to The Way. This one is by Jill Scott. So you ready to take a listen?
Yep. Hang on. We got some ads going. All right. I'm good on the way. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Love, love, love this song as well. Jill is
Yeah.
such a vibe.
I hate to be that, like, they don't make music like this anymore, but they really don't. Like,
They don't.
I'm listening to the lyrics and I'm like, every single one of these artists put serious intention into like the lyrics that they're saying, the
Mm-hmm.
wordplay, the rhyme, the poetry of it all. Like, they just really don't. The girls aren't doing this anymore.
At
Period.
all.
Like, they're
At
not.
all. They definitely are not.
You
It's kind
know,
of
like,
like, to me, it's like kind of sad because it's like I really enjoy this genre of music, and it's just not a lot of people who are doing that anymore.
exactly.
But yeah, and also too, I think the thing that gets me about Neo Soul as well is the relatability. It's not, like a lot of rappers and stuff now, they talk about like just sleeping with people and or drugs and alcohol. Those are things I don't participate in. You know what I mean? This is just like real
Right.
day, everyday life, Black girl, Black women, Black men problems. Because a lot of these artists and are African American. So it's like that level of relatability that is also, it's like tangible to my life.
Exactly.
Great song.
Yes, what a
She gives
great
me
song.
more like southern, like almost like bluegrass vibes with this song. You can like see she's what?
She's from Philadelphia.
I know, but I'm just saying, like the song itself, it just sounds more like, because I enjoy some kind of like blues, like bluegrass kind of music, sometimes alternative, if you will.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives me like that kind of vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that she really does almost like spoken word in this.
Yeah, she does. Mm-hmm.
Like,
For sure.
I would say she's less singing and she's more like speaking.
Yeah.
Especially in this song.
For sure. I agree with that.
Yeah. And it kind of gives me Tank and the Bangers for like,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. So do you think like Jill has really gotten the credit that she deserves?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Think any of these neo soul artists have.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Again, the only quote credit we measure it by is like mainstream success. And mainstream success is often cliche because it has to reach the masses, right? Or it has to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. I don't think she gets the credit she deserves.
For sure. Yeah. I wish she was like more talked about because she really is like a really good artist. And also I love Jill Scott, like outside of her music. She's such a humble, sweet woman from like the things that I've seen her in and or like doing and talking, like interviews and stuff. She's so sweet. Like she just seems like a down to earth like auntie.
Exactly. Yeah. Definitely an auntie.
For sure. I would love to have her
Yeah,
as my aunt, for sure.
I'm noticing how much she really is like. She sings her own backing. She also does her background in this too. But it's like her backing is the singing, and then her
Mm-hmm.
lead is really her spoken word, kind of like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, which is pretty innovative now that you mention that. I never noticed that, but that is very true.
Yeah.
That's a good one,
Yeah.
Jill. Definitely a good
Good
one.
one for sure. All right, you want to do Strength, Courage, and Wisdom?
Yes, ma'am.
Another indie I read from Acoustic Soul. This is a great song. I mean, the title
Yeah.
itself is already so bold and like it's really a descriptor of what's to come, but
Mm-hmm.
this is almost like an anthem. That's what I was
For
thinking
sure.
when I was
100%.
yeah.
For sure. This is like my go-to pick-me-up song. Like,
Yeah.
if you are having just like a down and out day, listen to this. I promise you, the song is literally like an affirmation to get yourself back into a good space. Really, definitely promotes some self love. 1,000%. The album as a whole does, in my personal opinion, but specifically
Exactly.
this song.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, you ready to listen?
Let's do it.
All right. Hold on, I got an ad.
Okay.
Yay.
That's why you have to get a title.
Oh. I know. I use YouTube. I'm so old. All right, I'm playing now. You good?
Yep, I've already started.
All right.
It's been inside of me.
I realized this song does not it doesn't have that same like smooth mellow track that like D'Angelo had
Mm-hmm.
or like Erica Badu had starting out. But then I thought I was like, you know what? I think it's good that it didn't because this is a pick me up and this is about like strength, courage, and wisdom. It's about empowering yourself, you know? So I
Yeah.
was like, it didn't need that slow build. It needed to just get
Mm-hmm.
right into like a more up tempo, you
Exactly.
know?
100%. And that's when I think I really enjoy that album as well, Acoustic Soul, because every song is almost different on the album. Um, some songs she has that intro. Some of the songs she has more of like a neo soul vibe, right? And then some of the soul songs she has more of like an R&B pop vibe. Like this song is more of a get me up song, so it's probably more like along the pop neo soul, right? But
Exactly.
how she coincided that with what she's saying and what her intent was for delivering that is genius.
Exactly. I'm just listening to that line. It's time to step out on faith. I gotta show my face.
Mm-hmm.
Procrastination had me down, but look what I found. I found strength,
Yep.
courage, and wisdom. It's like these lyrics are so like you can't make this stuff up. You have to like
Seriously.
this is just coming straight out of her journal, her diary
Mm-hmm.
into this
Mm-hmm.
song. And I'm like, it's beautiful. It's like it's the stuff that we have to tell ourselves every day. It's the affirmations we have to tell ourselves every day. Like, it's in me. I can do this. You know what I mean? And she set it down to
Exactly.
music, and I'm like, brilliant, just brilliant.
Mm-hmm. And like she has this part towards the end. It says, "I close my eyes and I think of all the things I want to see because I know now that I've opened up my heart. I know that anything I want can be. So I let it be. So let it be."
Mm-hmm.
Like, girl, you were hitting on some affirmations back in the day, honey.
But for
You better
real,
stop,
yeah.
India.
Maybe she was just before her time. That's why she never got
I
like
think
as
so.
big.
I don't know, but
Or maybe she was
it's so
actually testing
ironic to
herself.
me
But
because literally she was saying everything that people are saying now. Then, like,
exactly,
yeah, and
exactly.
like imagine like as a kid, like we can't like this is one album my mom always had playing. Like I'm talking
Mhm.
every single day. I think was it on a tape? She had it on a tape. I think it was
Yeah,
on
or
a
like
tape.
CD or something.
Yeah, or a CD. But either way, we listened to this song, this album all the time. So like listening to that as a kid, like I didn't really understand it, but like, can you imagine like if I understood what that was saying and I constantly listened to that, like I would be reaffirming myself all the time with this song for one. And could you imagine my self-esteem would be through this roof probably.
This is great. And like you that's how you know the lyrics are like great, because they literally, you can listen to the song 20 years later and be like, yes, like these are like classic lyrics, you know what I mean? Like really
100%.
things that like, relate then and now, like, and probably for generations to come. Like this is, you know, because we all experience these like trials in life, right? And we all at some point need to tell ourselves to like, I have the strength, courage, and wisdom to get through this. I have everything that it takes to succeed. You know what I mean?
Exactly. All right. So that was Strength, Courage, and Wisdom. Check it out. India, once again, is great. But we're going to move on to Loved by You by Kirby.
Yes.
You ready, Courtney?
Yep.
I did not know Kirby was from Memphis, Tennessee. I just knew she was British.
No. She's from the US. I think she lives in Detroit now.
Yeah, but she's from Memphis originally. Yeah.
This is actually what I consider the least neo soul out of our playlist.
Really?
And it's because it's such a ballad. It's such a ballad.
It is a ballad, but I'm talking about like the musical notes. Gives me more of that like bluegrass. So I would say it's like a R&B, like bluegrass.
Yeah,
it's just like a slower version of that.
Feel quite as neo soul as like D'Angelo or any of the other. You know what I mean? Like, because it doesn't have that like hip hop esque beat in it. This is almost it's almost rock acoustic to me.
You think so?
Because listen to that like guitar. The guitar, the guitar is really the only instrument playing right now. It is a live instrument, but it's almost like acoustic, even though it's electric, you know?
Yeah. See, I was thinking more of like, it gives me more of like electric banjo vibes, right? But because like if you sped that up, that would definitely give me straight bluegrass, you know, like it would be like more of like a bluegrass funk if you just sped it up. However, because she slowed it down so much, I can see how you could possibly be like, that maybe not fit. That might not fit.
Yeah.
I also did not know that she's written for a lot of major artists, for a lot of major artists. So I thought she only did her music, but she actually is a writer.
I didn't know that.
Me either.
Well, I can see that, because to me this feels like a true ballad. It really is like a ballad to me.
For sure.
So the lyrics are really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think the stripped down, just really the electric guitar is the lead electric guitar. It really shows off her vocals. Like this song above the other ones highlights the vocals the most to me.
Yeah, I agree. But that's because like there's literally all you have to listen to is exactly that one instrument and her vocals. There's not. This is like the simplest you could get probably without just singing.
Exactly. I mean, and the thing is, the guitar is playing some pretty like interesting chords and stuff. So,
and it like goes with the guitar goes in between of like this sultry, like little calming to like this like heavy, almost like heavy strumming. Well, not heavy, but like that more intentional strumming that gets you a heavier sound, I guess.
Exactly.
So it's interesting. And even her voice does it too. Like goes in between of like this sultry, sweet, smooth, gentle like sound to a more of like prominent, like I'm gonna let you know this is how I feel.
Exactly. And then like she relies so much on falsetto vocally. I think that's interesting, because normally falsetto is something you hear men doing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, D'Angelo, Prince is known for falsetto. I'm trying to think who else is known for falsetto. know. There's a lot of like bands from the 60s and stuff, like Temptations and stuff, they were known for falsetto.
Okay.
But or at least certain members. But you know, when you hear women sing falsetto, it's very like, I don't know, it's like calming in a way, you know, because women's voices are like naturally higher than men's, but or usually, they're not always, but hearing her really go into falsetto intentionally, I think that's what ties it back to neo soul for some reason for me. I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And it's just, yeah. Oddly enough.
Okay. All right. So we're moving on to our next song.
This is a contemporary song, Hours and Hours by Money Long. And we all know this song, or well, it's popular enough.
Yes, it is popular at the moment.
But
yeah,
and I thought this was
we're
a really
doing
great
Hours and
example.
Hours.
Yeah. You listening now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is almost like classic. It fits right in line to me with like the D'Angelos and the Erykah Badu's, because it starts out with that like kind of like slow move into the hip hop beat, like that strong backing beat is there, and then she adds the hip hop beat on top of it. It's got a little more of a trap sound in the hip hop beat than like, you know, D'Angelo or you know, Lauryn Hill had, just because trap didn't really exist then. But she's, for a contemporary artist, I think she's one of the closest to a neo soul artist for sure.
Really? See, I was not getting neo soul from this. I was getting more of like just R&B, like Usher. That's what it gives me.
I can see that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. One thing I always look for in a good neo song is a good like bass line or some type of like simple beat that's carrying the beat. Like, and this song has that. It has that drum that's just kind of like simple drum tone that's carrying this beat throughout the entire song. So that's why I was like, okay, yeah, this could be neo soul because it gives you that like simplicity that you typically get with the other songs that we have listened to during this playlist. So
exactly. I think because the hip hop beat actually is more trap oriented, I do think it gives it more of a contemporary R&B vibe. Which nothing wrong with contemporary R&B either, because it is close to neo soul, you know. I would say without the neo soul movement, we probably wouldn't even have contemporary R&B, really.
Oh, for sure, I agree.
So much of R&B is influenced by like that sound. So yeah, and then I was thinking about the lyrics too. I was like, the lyrics are really intentional. She's using a lot of wordplay. She's rhyming things. She's really, you know, just the idea of like yours, mine, ours, and then hours and hours and hours, like that kind of thing. Like, I was like, this. At first, I would agree with you and been like, you know what, this is just R&B. It's not neo soul. But then I started looking at the elements of the song, and I was like, no, I really could see how this could fit into neo soul as well. It's a fusion song.
For sure. I also really appreciate. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. I'm good.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I really appreciate her vocal tricks. Now, you know, she's been in the game of writing music for a very long time. So she obviously is very musically talented. But how she plays her, don't be wrong, like a lot of people, they just do way too much in a lot of songs. And this song, some people may perceive it as just doing too much. But I feel like while she may be doing a lot, she has strategically chosen which vocal tricks to use where and when to do the most and when not to do the most, and when it benefits and when it isn't beneficial. So I will say she is definitely creative with her vocals and her lyrics. So she's definitely, which I knew her from like writing music. I didn't realize that she made her own music. So kudos to her for putting this out there, because she really like showed her capabilities for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm with it, honestly. Like, this is probably, I wouldn't call this like neo soul in the way that we used to call it, like we know from back in the day. It's not fully that, but she certainly is the closest, I think, that we're like getting to that era in 2022, you know?
Okay.
But yeah.
So we're going to jump on into our last song for today's podcast, and it is called "When I'm in Your Arms" by Cleo Soul.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like Courtney said, Money Long song "Hours and Hours" is her go-to um, neo soul song as far as contemporary art is concerned today. This would be mine. So this is more of like a contemporary um, version of what I would say neo soul is today. You ready?
Gotcha. Yep.
All right.
I'm not gonna lie. I was skeptical of this song first because I was like,
Really?
I was like indie, like weird, non,
Well, I
just
love that genre.
off.
So,
Yeah, but then I listened to it and I was like, no, I know why you put this in the playlist because that backtrack, that bass
mm-hmm,
line, that
mm-hmm,
is straight up like a neo soul move. Now
for
she's
sure. And
added
it
a lot of
almost
other types of sounds to it,
exactly.
but that backing track could be in a D'Angelo song
Oh, for sure.
easily.
And I think also too, like even though like she's added her own like contemporary modern spin on it, it's
Mm-hmm.
still pretty simple compared to what you usually hear today. Um,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
that was also another thing that was like, okay, this is definitely a more of a contemporary um, neo soul feel. On top of like she has that build up that D'Angelo likes to do with his music too. So like I don't know if you got to the part where, but she like adds that shaker in there real quick, just kind of shaking that up, and then she like takes it out, and then she'll add it back in later. Then she'll take it
Mm-hmm.
out. So also her voice is very like sultry, smooth, soothing,
Exactly.
warm,
Yeah.
and cozy.
It's definitely no doubt the girl can sing. Like she can
Oh, for
sing,
sure.
and
I love her.
her tone is really perfect for this song and this style of music. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I will. The one thing that did get me about this song, which sort of has nothing to do with the music, is this appropriation.
I don't
Is
think
she
so because she
with
is actually
her
a British.
Okay.
So she's actually British. So her mom, I think she's biracial. I'm not sure. I can look it up though. But I think her one of her parents is like African American of some type of descent. But her parents both played instruments in a band. So her mother played the flute and the guitar, and her dad played the bass and the piano. Her dad, I want to say, was a part of a neo soul band while she was growing up, or both of her parents. It was either one of her parents or both of her parents. So she grew
Mhm.
up knowing neo soul. And so I was watching something of hers, and she was saying like she was heavily influenced by Erykah Badu, Stevie Wonder, and Jill Scott. So I really feel like for her, it was more of an influence than it is appropriation. Also, to like being in another country, um, appropriation doesn't look quite the same over there as it does here. Like she could have literally just been heavily influenced by that because that's who she was around. Here in America is a little different.
Mhm. Yeah, you know, I guess I shouldn't have been judging a book by its cover, but I was like, is this appropriation? But her, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't take away from the quality of her music and her sound.
Mm-hmm.
I do think about the like political or the social kind of aspects of, everything, but especially artwork,
Yeah. So I just
But
looked it up. Her mother is Serbian Spanish and her father is Jamaican. So I can see that.
yeah. And that kind of some of those the percussion she uses, because she's not using just a drum, she's using more like
Mm-hmm.
Caribbean type percussions in place of what
Mm-hmm.
would be like, our drum or like an 808 or whatever.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So and like the I don't know what the names of all those drums are, but like kind of that calypso type music. That's the
Yeah.
kind of drums you can hear, like bongo
Mm-hmm.
type.
Yeah, even the shaker. It sounds like I know exactly. Like if I saw it, I could tell you. It's like that little like it looks like kind of like a like some type of shell with like a net of like beads or something over it. It's like
Mhm.
it's not something we
I know
have
what
in
you're
America.
talking
I
about. I
don't
don't know what
think
the name of it is, but I can see it.
exactly. Yeah, so like I could like see her shaking that. But yeah, I mean, like knowing where she comes from, it's like okay, that makes sense. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, she's I think she's definitely knocking on Neo Soul's door. Sort
For
of like
sure.
Money Long.
Mm-hmm.
But what's great about it is it's also updated and it's infused with their own ethnicities, their own,
Mm-hmm.
upbringing.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely think like contemporary wise, she's definitely like your neo soul like face, right? And
Yeah,
Money Long as well. Um, if you're looking for like a more modern twist on what neo soul would be, quote unquote, today. Because I don't
exactly.
really think like, don't be wrong, like they have touches of R&B, but I don't feel like they would just, neither one of those would just fit into that category and be like, oh yeah, that's perfect for you. Like it's like you have a little something else, you're there.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I love she really keeps us the strong, steady beat throughout the entire song, and then adds
Mm-hmm.
like the flavors onto it, like we were saying with D'Angelo. And I think that really pushes her towards neo soul.
For sure. And also too
Well,
how she comes in with that beat and leaves exactly out how she came. Like you can just, it
exactly.
helps add that consistency as well.
It's like cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. All right. Well, that was great. I'm so glad we had the opportunity to share that playlist with you guys. Um, these are songs and things we've been listening to since we were children. Like we were saying, neo soul has been a part of our lives for the longest time, and it's almost like a comfort genre now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, we're so glad we had the opportunity to share that with you. We're gonna, like we were saying in the introduction, and we're gonna continue to do this series 1107 in Dark, which is our little take on 106 in Park. If you know, you know. Then every few weeks or so, we're going to be putting up a playlist um, of our songs, either from, curated from a specific genre, maybe an artist, maybe an artist's album, or like, you know, any kind of musical, you know, thing that we're feeling or that we're interested in continuing to explore. So be
Mm-hmm.
on the lookout for those. We'll always try to announce on the previous week's episode when we're going to be doing 1107 in Dark, so you can have access to the playlist a week ahead of time, so you can listen to the music, feel it out, and then when we come together and do this podcast on for the next week, then we'll go through selected songs with you guys, break down the music, break down the lyrics, break down the artist, and just have a good old fashioned jam sesh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was definitely fun. I'm excited to continue the series and seeing what else music that, Courtney brings to the table, I bring to the table, and we can talk about it. So we really appreciate you guys watching. We hope you tune in for the next 1107 in Dark, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.